Juggalos are back to back, hey, yeah. Oh, all my psychos, we're back again. Juggalo, let's everybody sing. Gonna bring the fake, I'll show you how. Got a question for you, better answer now, yeah. Am I juggalo? Yeah. Am I the only hoe? Yeah. Am I sexual? Yeah. Am I everything you need? You better rock your face, babe, now. Juggalos, yeah, yeah. Rock your face, babe, yeah, yeah, yeah. Juggalos, yeah. Rock your face, babe, right. Juggalos are back, alright, alright, alright. Now throw your go up in the air. Wave them around like you just don't care. If you wanna whoop whoop, let me hear you yell. Cause we got it going on again. Yeah, yeah. Am I juggalo? Yeah. Am I the only hoe? Yeah. Am I sexual? Yeah. Am I everything you need? You better rock your face, babe, now. Juggalos, yeah, yeah. Rock your face, babe, yeah, yeah, yeah. Juggalos, yeah. Rock your face, break, right. Juggalos are back, alright, alright, alright. So everybody everywhere, don't be afraid, have some fear. I'm gonna tell the world, make you understand. As long as there'll be insane clowns, we'll be coming back again. Juggalos, yeah. Rock your face, babe, yeah, yeah, yeah. Juggalos, yeah. Rock your face, babe, right. Juggalos are back, alright, alright, alright. Juggalos, yeah, yeah.
And we are live on Underground Wicked Radio with the Itch.
Hello.
Starting right out, how did you guys come up with that name for your band?
You want to take it, Dan? You want me to take it?
Well, we'll probably interrupt each other a lot because we always have little. I mean, this is going on 21 years now, and we're not 27 anymore, so we're pushing 50. So we got the Alzheimer's going on. I think we picked the name from a line in "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" When we first started. There's a part where they're at the creek and they get seduced by the harpies, and Pete goes, one of them goes, "Oh, old Pete's got the itch." You know, it's like, well, there's her band name right there. You know, but I mean, unless Eric remembers differently, so like that's my recollection.
That is exactly how I remember it. It's fun to ask people where they think we got it because everyone has a different story than the real story, and some of those are better than the real story. But it became, I think a lot of people think it came from when we started, we didn't know how to play our instruments very well, but we had a desire to do something different. And so everyone thought it was, we wanted to scratch a new itch that we haven't had before, but that's putting way too much thought into it. We just heard it in a movie and thought it sounded cool.
Yeah. I wanted to call it the one and only goddamn itch, but Eric vetoed that.
That was on the first like single or whatever that you put out, wasn't it? That name?
No.
Okay.
No, never. It never got put in writing. It eventually just became the one and only itch as a joke because, like, you know, there's a lot of bands called the Itch.
That was it. Yeah, the one and only. Yeah, because there are no others.
Yeah, not at all.
Not at all.
We've had people write us and threaten to sue us and tell us that, and we're just like, come get us. We have nothing.
Well, but to kind of go back a little bit though, because Snickers brought me in because I actually know the Itch. We're old friends, so our worlds have come full circle now. But yeah, you guys, you were in other bands before separately. You were in different bands. And both of you were in playing different instruments and filling different roles in those different bands. And if I remember right, it kind of got old hat, kind of got like, that's fun, but I want to try something new. And that's how the Itch happened. You all picked up an instrument you did not play and kind of assumed roles that you didn't before, and started something fresh and new. And it was bonkers at the beginning, but it's really 20 years later. It's crazy how good it's become.
it's still a
And
little
they're,
bonkers. So
Well,
Oh,
yeah.
it's very bonkers. There's a lot of chaos in that and the whole thing still. But no, that's pretty much it. I mean, it was going to be. I don't know if you got that zine. You got a copy of that zine we did, right? The one we
Yep.
put out recently. Like that kind of mostly tells the story about how that began. But yeah, basically, like we, I'd wanted to do something different. I've been messing around with another band for a year playing drums. And that band practiced for a year straight before we played our first show. And then the band broke up like 2 shows later. And I was just like, I'm just done with this. And so I called Eric one day. I was like, hey, I'm going to look for a new job. So maybe we can like start playing a band together. You should learn how to play guitar. I've got a drum set at my house and we can just start doing that. And about 9 months later, I got my job and that had a more consistent schedule. And we started practicing like that week. That's how I know like when our band started, because it was the first week I started at my job. So
and I remember
Oh, sorry.
I remember a phone call that Dan, I'd say maybe 6 months into that, he called me. He's like, "Can you play guitar yet? Because I want to start the band." I said, "No, I cannot. I cannot play guitar. I'm still learning." And he goes, "Okay, well maybe in a month or so we can practice." I'm like, "No." It was very, very slow. We probably did start practicing pretty soon after that, really.
Yeah.
We wanted to not we wanted to not be good, I guess, at the first. We wanted to more just kind of experience something new and kind of defy people's expectations, because when people first heard that me and Dan were in a band together, there was a lot of people that were excited because they were used to me being a drummer and Dan being a front man. And so they were like, this is going to be a great band. But we didn't tell anybody we were doing anything different. So at our first show, we got a lot of, what are you guys doing? And we said, we play different instruments now. And they said, are you good? And then I said, no, we're not. We're not good. And we alienated a lot of people. But I think the right people stuck around.
Well, and I mean, really, it's the punkest thing you could do. You know, and I know it's, I don't know, it gets kind of in the weeds of what is punk and what is not punk, but
It does.
you know, the defiant attitude of punk is undeniable. That's obviously the culture is defiance, and there's no more defiant thing as a band than to intentionally kind of suck and defy everyone's expectation and defy what everybody wanted, honestly, because that's what people wanted. They wanted more Dan yelling at people from the microphone
Yeah.
and more Chubba just being behind a drum kit. And or Eric, my bad.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to cut over to a commercial real quick and throw some more promotion up.
Gotcha.
You ready for it, Shovel?
I guess, man.
All right, we'll be right back.
Yep. There it
Yep.
is.
Yep.
Wow.
There it is.
Nice.
I feel so
yeah.
dirty.
Hey, Ronnie. What's up,
How's it
buddy?
going, Ronnie? Whoop, whoop. So, what was the very first song you guys wrote?
Another
It was an
juxtaposition.
instrumental because none of us can really sing. And I would still say it's kind of still a challenge, but we kind of knew our vocals would be, we didn't really know who was going to sing. So Dan called me and literally hummed a part over the phone. He's like, I want the guitar to go like ma 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 ma, ma, something like that. And I said, okay. And I cobbled that together, and that's probably the first song on our first 7-inch.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was called Another Juxtaposition.
And we put
And-
that first 7-inch out in the first year we were a band, didn't we, Dan?
We did. We had I thought we had a master plan, and Eric didn't realize there was a giant plan there. So I probably didn't communicate it well. But yeah, I was wanting to put out a 7-inch record in the first year and then tour Europe. Like, I mean, the thing is, Shovel is like, we didn't want to suck. We just sucked. It's not like, I mean, I don't know if you guys know who Flipper is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it wasn't like Flipper. It just turned into that. Like it was, I mean, we really wanted to get better. But when you're 27, you don't have the neurons of an 18-year-old, and you don't learn things real quick. And you got a day job, and you got kids, and you got a family, and you practice once a week, and it just took a long time. We've got a lot of emotional wounds from this band that first 5 years. It was bad, dude. Like, it was rough.
Well, and like your band members are like you're married to them. It's like, and you can't. And I've explained it before. Is like sometimes you get in a relationship with somebody and you realize that they're emotionally damaged and you don't want to be around this person anymore. But you're stuck in a van with them now for a month, and it's bad. And when you get back, it's even worse. So.
Well, but I think that's the lineup. The lineup now. We're missing one guy, isn't here? His name is Dustin. And
yeah, unfortunately, we just got back from 3 days, 3 shows in 3 days, which is a lot for us being almost 50. And Dustin has to work to make up hours.
But he's like one of the sweetest guys in the entire world. So if you put his dynamic in that van with you two guys, even if the both of you are at your absolute worst, Dustin's there to just like SpongeBob it all up, and kind of make it a little nicer around there.
John, you haven't been around Dustin a lot, obviously. Like, he is a really sweet guy, but don't underestimate his ability to tell you when you fucked up. Like, he'll tell you. He'll tell you what his needs are.
Well, and that's good too, Dan.
It is. No, it is.
You definitely need that.
I need that.
Well, and that's actually what other members aren't in the band anymore for, because they had an inability to call us on our bullshit, and instead of saying something outright, they just stow it away, and that's not good. Because
that's the dynamic of your band too, that I think is kind of, I don't want to say unusual, but it's special. And it's that, there isn't a leader to the band. Like, no. You are a band by committee, and you don't do anything if somebody doesn't want to do it. And I think that's a beautiful thing. A lot of bands, they you just toe the line of the lead singer because they're in charge or whatever. And that's just not your dynamic, and I think it's amazing.
Yeah, we used to do it by democratic vote, and what happened with that is if 2 people want to do a show and one person doesn't, there's one person that's upset the entire weekend of doing the show, and it just doesn't work well. And we're too old to not having fun. So the rule now is that everybody has to want to do it, or we just don't do it.
Oh yeah.
And that's incredible. Nobody does that.
Well, that was from early on.
And it slows progress sometimes, and it makes you got to communicate a lot, and sometimes bands aren't good at communicating. But me and Dan especially love communicating. Me and Dan are big communicators. So yeah, that's what works for us. Is
I actually want to cut over to your song, Dynamic of Rural Living.
Oh, yeah.
And then we're going to talk about this song when we come back. Let's play this.
Okay.
Imagine our own goodbyes as the car breaks the horizon. A mumbled prayer, crescent lips, an uttered phrase, a sardonic quip. You should come back and visit. It'd be nice to see you again. It's the furthest thing from their minds, but the curse is placed, the trap is set. These people are far too good to just sufficient hunter and knows that things are simple no matter how far Dip one toe in, your leg is black. Now it's up to the waist, you're breathing slacks. The tar pit wrings its hands, anticipates your demands, covers up the pit with purple sunsets and nostalgia. Blink once, you're home with friends. Blink twice, you're stuck again. Liquid libations and smoke inhalations only slow your reflexes. I'd like to leave, but I'd miss my friends. Yeah, I'll leave when I get some money saved. Yeah, I'd like to leave, but it's just not the right time. I'll go someday as the tar pit thickens. It's a patient hunter and knows that things are cyclical. No matter how far you go, you're on your way back. The tar pit claims another victim as they wonder how it picked them. Stick one toe in, your leg is black. Now it's up to the waist, you're breathing slacks.
God dang, boys.
You guys remind me of Green Jelly.
Oh, I can see that.
I've interviewed William Charles Manspeaker before. Good guy. Oh yeah.
I love the evolution of the itch. Yeah, Ronnie, you 100% you need to check out the itch because they're really, really good. But I think another thing that sets you apart from other bands is it's not that you're just you are passionate about the music, but it's not just that you're passionate about the music. You're passionate about the whole artistic capability of music, like the expanse of what music can be, where it's experiential. It's not just, putting sound in your ears, it's putting visuals in your eyes, but even more than that, it's putting emotions and touching soul with, your lyrics are always, thoughtful. I guess I shouldn't say always. You've got some
There's some
goofball
raunchy
songs.
shit in there.
Yeah. Well, and you have just instrumentals too.
Yeah, we do.
But yeah, you have songs that cover heavy topics, the heaviest of topics, and you don't shy away from the topics. It's not that you're being poetic or artistic and but that's really about, we're actually talking about this. No, it's abundantly clear what you're talking about and what your stance is on it. And I find that beautiful. The passion comes out in that way, in my opinion. But I think I was describing it to you, Snickers, that you guys, the fact that the band is from Southwest Missouri is part of the identity of the band. And it doesn't mean that you have to know that area to understand it, because the problems of that area are problems all over. It's just that you're so in tune with those issues that you can articulate them really well. But then what is wild is how you're really drilling in specifically to the history of the region and how that history connects with today. And if we lose it, we suffer. Like you can't get it back. That knowledge and experience, you can never get it back, and it makes us lesser human. So I think that's incredible out of a goofball punk band.
Yes, it is. Now, who writes the lyrics to the songs? You guys do
Both
it all
of us.
together? Oh, hell
Yeah, we both do. Sometimes we'll bring a big, somebody will have most of the words and we might change a line or two depending on who's doing what line. But especially on this new record that we put in, we became more open to collaborating on. Dan might write 2 lines and I might write 2 lines, or Dan might write the words and I might sing it, just to throw people off, because that's our MO, is keep people on their toes for the most part. So we got a little too predictable with, well, I know Eric wrote that song because Eric's singing it. I'm like, well, we're going to change that. So,
Well,
I mean,
also, like, I think another thing, John, that you were kind of talking about earlier is we also started this band from scratch, not knowing our instruments, to deliberately learn new things, right? Like, and Eric's an artist, like he went to school for that. And so he had this whole idea early on about, you know, when you learn something, you learn that person's style and their stylistic elements to that aren't necessarily yours. And we know a lot. I mean, we know a lot of bands. One of our old friends' bands, they were like, you know, we're going to sound like this band. And eventually they developed their own sound. And those were friends of ours. And we're like, we don't want to do that. We want to develop our own sound from day one. And that's a hard way to do things. And we didn't realize how hard it was going to be. But like early on, when I started playing drums, because I mean, and I've told Eric this before, like, I'm sorry, dude, I wrecked your drums that first 5 years. I fucked your drums up. I destroyed thousands of dollars in equipment, and I'm so sorry. But that was the learning process, right? I didn't have any self-control. And once I started paying for my own shit, I learned self-control real quick. And so, but like one of the things though, is like, Eric's like, if you're going to learn drums, if you want to sing, you got to start that now. Like I think like this first or second month we started, he's like, if you learn to play drums and then try to sing, you won't be able to do it. And so a lot of my lyrics and a lot of like the songs I sang go along with the drums. It used to be like, but they went like just along with the drums, just because I didn't know how to sing. But eventually I got able to do different lyrical, you know, cadences that don't match the drums all the way and do that separately. And that took a long time. But I mean, that's one of the things that one of our goals was to have this band be a blueprint to inspire people and not care about things so much and letting that inhibit you from creating. You know, I mean, I grew up with a lot of hardcore punk rock, and you know, one of the things was like the media never really represented that community well. It didn't present the politics of the local community well. And so for me, like, Eric's an artist, but for me, this is a band is an expression. It's kind of like a bard back in like the medieval Europe. They travel around Europe singing songs about their history and about, you know, sometimes those songs would get convoluted and exaggerated, creating legends. But, you know, someone's got to speak about their world, and no one really speaks about our world. Like, it's just not really talked about. If it is talked about, it's glossed over with a lot of plastic and shiny, you know, shiny shit that doesn't necessarily reflect the reality of where we live. And so, yeah, I mean, and just the other thing though, John, or Shovel, is I think you came into our band with our like second 7-inch record. We didn't have a lot of that regionalistic kind of history until like we got well into this band, because we didn't know what we wanted to write about. And there was a lot of goofball songs in the beginning, but eventually like we started getting there. And that was my favorite part of the band, when we started like hitting on like almost like folk music, you know?
Well, and early on you had another writer as well. Another member of the band was writing.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. So, you know, that and that's part of the history of the band too.
It is.
And you know, things happened, things changed. And so you lost a writer, but I don't think you suffered for it at all. And obviously through its ups and downs over the decades, where you are now is just remarkable.
It changed. It changes. Like, I mean, I don't think we really enjoyed this band until 2008.
Oh, wow.
Like we started in 2003, but I didn't really start enjoying it until 2008. Like, that's when I started like, oh wow, this is something I like to listen to, because before that it just felt like a job. You know?
I think I was having fun from the very beginning. I'll be honest. I was a drummer since 15, but I didn't want to be a drummer. I wanted to play guitar, but we had too many guitar players in Joplin. Joplin's a small town. And if you want to play guitar, you can play guitar, but everyone's carrying a guitar. You can't do anything. If you want to get in a band, you start playing drums. You'll be in like 4 bands in the next week if you start playing drums, because everyone needs a drummer.
Yep.
And so, and I mean, I like drums too. So I just decided on that. But I always was like, well, it would be cool to play guitar, but I really didn't think I could. And when Dan told me to learn, I basically bought Guitar for Dummies and watched TV, bad TV and sitcoms, and learned guitar, and pretty badly. But I picked up some things from reading that book, and I didn't play guitar like the cheap, easy way that most people would learn. And I think I still hung on to a lot of that stuff, and I'm glad I did it that way. But yeah, as far as like when we started, I was having fun immediately. I didn't think I was good at all. But
Eric, I was having fun. I just didn't enjoy what we were making all the time. Like, that,
All right.
like there was times where I was like, "Ooh, that's rough." I mean, I was really hypercritical of our music for a long time.
And you still are. I think we're one of the only bands that has a post-mortem after we play a show, or even a practice. Maybe we're like, how did that go? Are we excited with how that went, or what went bad and what went wrong? And I've never been in a band that did that, but this has also been the only band I've been in now for the last X amount of years. But I used to be in a ska band, and I'm not doing a postmortem with a ska band. There's way too many people to talk to in that. I'm done. There's like 9 people in that thing. I can't do that.
Do you guys know what a postmortem is?
We call it a hot wash in the business that I work in.
Oh,
Okay.
I learned
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So like in theater, because I was raised with like theater and a lot of like fine arts and music. And in theater, after you get done with a play, you have a post-mortem where you tear it apart. No one's getting out of there with a good self-esteem. It's getting criticized. Everything's getting torn apart. The costumes, the lighting, the acting, and it's rough. And Eric was raised in a similar manner with going to art school. Like they would tear apart his art. And so we just kind of brought that with us because, I mean, why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you talk about it? That doesn't make sense that you'd not talk about it, but yeah, all the times there's a lot of egos in music that want to control things, get songwriter rights, and we wanted to avoid all of that. We didn't want anything to do with that world, that end of music business where it was ego, identity, and profit and all that. We didn't want anything to do with that.
So Ronnie in chat wants to know what happened to make you start enjoying music.
We got better. Like we got better, and like quite frankly, we lost our second bass player, and he brought an element to the band that, because band, it's kind of like putting together a mixed drink, right? Like if you get the wrong ingredient in there, it's not going to taste good. And I kind of felt like one of our previous bass players, it was kind of like that. And once he was out of the band, it was just Eric and I. Like we had planned this tour, and we were going to hit the road, and we lost our bass player, and everyone's like, "Oh, they're done now." And Eric and I know we're going on fucking tour still. We're going. We're not just stopping. And so the two of us hit the road. And
that was like over 2-week tour, right?
Oh,
that
wow.
was a 2-week tour. And so
For us, that's a big deal. But
right. So we hit the
road. It wasn't a light thing. And so I'm like, no, we're just going to take 2 guitar amps and we'll figure it out. And
it was cool. It was cool.
It was really cool.
Like,
and
Eric
then when we came,
amps, he took one of them and put a little delay on it. So we had 2 amps, one on each side of the stage. One was like more like distorted. One was more like kind of like reverby, and it created a really cool sound. And like we tried making up for being a bass player, not having a bass player by doing that. And we hit the road. And at that point, it was just he and I writing songs. And our bass player, like he had quite the personality, but he also needed, like, he just had no self-esteem at all. And he would always get frustrated if any of us got any attention over him. And it was kind of frustrating for us because we wanted to be a group, and he wanted to kind of like stick out in this kind of way that was not the antithesis of what we're trying to do. You know what I mean? And so once Eric and I were just by ourselves and we started writing songs, that's when we put out the 7-inch record of Vita Imperfecta. And that's just Eric and I. And that's what I really started enjoying the band, because we started writing about serious things consistently, and we started getting like a better sound. It was just a better sound all around. And then that's when we met Dustin. We recorded an entire 7-inch without bass. Dustin showed up at one of our shows, was drunk off his ass at that time, and we were like, Dustin's a good dude, he's at our show, let's have him in our band. So the next week, like, you want to join the band? He's like, heck yeah. and he learned what? He learned all our songs in like a week.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, he learned all that. Dude, I mean, Dustin's got a work ethic. Like it's sometimes it's unhealthy almost. Like he learned all of our set in a week, and we went to the studio where we recorded our 7-inch and hit record. And he played through that whole 7-inch in one take, and it was just
Wow.
done. It was incredible. Eric and I were like, "Well, that was nice," because we thought we'd be like holding back on this record for like 3 months, and Dustin's like, "Okay," and he just knocked it out. And it was incredible. And that 7-inch, that was the one that release was the one where I was really happy with our band.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I started falling in love with it.
So I want to do a video reaction. Have you guys ever heard of Electric Cowboy?
No.
No.
Oh hell yeah.
Not surprising.
Hell yeah.
Prepare
So
yourselves.
What is
so
this?
we'll pull it up. We'll get your
Okay.
reaction after. I interviewed these guys out of Germany, and
Oh.
we'll leave it at that for now. I'm gonna pull the video up. We'll play it.
It'll blow your mind.
Okay, we'll be right back after the song.
Things all the time, and
So-
it like thematically, each video is like its own world. It's incredible, and they
So-
fully commit to it.
Dan sometimes says that we barrel across spectrums, but not like that. That reminds me of stuff that my friends from Sweden would send me at 3:00 in the morning. Be like, "You have to listen to this band. It's really good." It was good. I liked it.
Yeah,
What are
yeah.
they called?
Electric Cowboy.
Electro Cowboy. Okay.
electric
Call-
call.
Electric
Cowboy. Yeah.
Oh, my
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kinda
Careful
like-
if you search on the internet. You never know.
They're a pretty good interview. They actually started out their band to be on a talent show, and they got booed off the stage, and they just kept making music, and they blew up over in Germany.
Huh.
I like that origin.
Yeah.
Me too.
For some reason, I'm thinking of, and maybe it's a Swedish thinking. I'm thinking of Viagra Boys.
Mm,
I don't know
they're
if you guys are listening to Viagra Boys, but just kind of the bizarreness of like just let's just throw some people off, and I like it.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to play a commercial, and then we're gonna cut over to another one of your guys' song.
Okay.
This one Shovel hasn't heard yet. We'll be right back.
Easy 606 has a new candy, the 6 Pop 6 Sexy Lollipop, made from Sex O Sex Menstrual Monthly Soccer Mom's softest sperm smoothie spit drops. It comes in 3 different flavors. Big Boy's juicy flavor, the 606 Hypertension for those of you suffering with blue balls. This flavor is gonna tantalize your lovey till the water runs dry. He also has the easy to fill cotton candy Beaver Fever. This flavor will leave her coming back to taste more. And let's not forget about his twisted, nippy, dripping flavor made with Granny's breast milk. For the flakiest dried up flakes, just add water to this powdered oldest cow's preserved juices. This flavor will have you saying you ain't nothing but a hound dogger. All these flavors can be found on Sinister Minded Music Official Radio, starting at $5.99 a pop, only on Underground Wicked Radio. Easy 606 6 Pop 6 Pop 6 Sexy Lollipop.
I think you're going to have trouble keeping that in stock.
I think you should just have that commercial the captioned with John's reactions. That'll be the whole screen.
Yeah,
There's the commercial.
His name's Shovel.
I mean, Shovel.
Yeah.
Shovel.
Yeah, who's this John guy?
I don't know.
John Doe.
That must be your bass player.
Yes.
Oh shit. So what do you got for a question? I love seeing Shovel's reaction on these. Let's see his actual face. What do you got for a question, Shovel? Then we're gonna play another song.
Oh, I thought you were coming back with another song.
Oh yeah, actually I wasn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's cut right into one of their songs.
I'll
That's
get-
usually good. Usually our songs provoke questions.
Yeah.
Let me see. So why do farmers kill themselves? Let's play this and we'll
Good question.
Have you heard this one yet, Shovel?
I don't.
No.
Well,
Only
I
at the
probably
show.
haven't heard a final version.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, leave some comments in chat, you guys. Let us know what you think. Be right back.
There are mean things happening in this land. Mean things happening in this land. Mean things happening. There are mean things happening. Mean things happening in this land.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to put that in the rotation on the radio.
Yeah, man, have at it.
Yeah, you don't get much different than the other song than that.
Yeah.
But not the nice balance.
So
Oh, yeah.
if because you were talking about how you're trying to go against the expectation. So because Dan was singing, did Chubba write that one?
Oh, he wrote the music. Like I think,
Okay.
if I remember correctly, it was just a riff he was playing at practice, and I was like, "Use it," and he's like, "This is just trash." He's like, "No, let's do it." And you know, and I mean, I liked it. You know, it reminded me a little bit of like the Gossip. I don't know if you've heard the Gossip, but they have like a really like drop guitar sound with lots of thumpy drums, and they were like a band I was listening to a lot when we first started, and I take a lot from them. But like he started playing that, and I was like, "Oh man, that sounds like the Gossip," and that, you know, that's all it takes. And then I'm like, you know, I'm hooked. And so we played it through, and yeah, it was awesome. It turned out really good.
So it's funny that you say it sounds like the Gossip, because hearing it, because you guys played that the other night live, so obviously it's going to sound different recorded.
Mhm.
I hear that recorded, and I hear, and Snickers, there's another band that these guys are, and I'm good friends with, from the Joplin area. If you would have told me Clint played that from Brutally Frank, the guitar part, I would have said, yeah, that sounds about right.
I could hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I did is when I started playing guitar is I just pretty much copied Chuck Berry's guitar rig. And then it got mutated, which is that whole psychobilly, rockabilly, rock and roll thing. And me and Dan have always loved punk, but I don't know when the 90s it happened, but punk kind of tried to get shoved in one little can.
Yeah.
And it was only, you know, regular Coke. And that was the only punk you could have, is this standard old, you know, and that was it. And that was fine. But when you get exposed to that for, you know, 10 straight Warped Tours, you're like, there's a whole spectrum of punk in there that doesn't get talked about as much. And so we try to focus on the roll part of the rock and roll as much as the rock, I guess, is what you would say.
Well, I think for me about that is also like, for me, that whole music, the whole thing about punk rock was that it was perseverance and without hope. You know, whenever there's no hope and you do what you do because you love it, that is what that world's supposed to represent. And we grew up in this world where people had a glimpse of success and money and status and fame from a world that used to be hopeless. And then all of a sudden, there's all these people wanting to become businessmen and fulfill that American dream. That's not fucking happening in Joplin. That's not happening. You're not fucking doing that here. You're not doing that in Pier City or, you know, Monette. That's not happening. I mean, people like to think it happens and they'll always find an excuse, but it's not really going to happen. You're going to have a day job and lie to your friends. You know, I mean, that's what the reality is. And so that whole world that's one of the things I cringe about when people call us a punk rock band, because it's like, are you talking about style? Are you talking about culture? Are you talking about attitude? Or what are you talking about? Because if you're talking about music, okay, maybe, but that's not the thing that I would consider as countercultural about. You know, the fact that we're just surviving in Joplin's fucking punk rock, but you don't want to move here, so get out. You know?
Yeah, I was kind of telling Snickers kind of the backstory of our relationship.
Oh man, you said you told that story? I'm sorry, man. We were jerks.
But just talking about the spectrum of punk rock, and that there was just the 3 chords, and that's we're just going to keep doing that, and that's, you know, everybody heard the Ramones and they just that's punk. And you know, I had been to the Warped Tour and crap before I came down to Joplin, so my expectation of punk was pretty limited because I was listening to other music, and so when I got down there and I was trying to make my way into local music down there, and you guys, a lot of people were gatekeeping, and you guys, you weren't gatekeeping, but you were standing by the gate, and you saw me there knocking on it, and you guys, you know, you were willing to take some time and get to know me, and you actually gave me quite a music education, and I don't know if you guys even really realize that.
I think so. I mean, one thing that I was thinking about today is that Joplin's too small to be secular and just be like, we're only going to play with our kind of bands, because we don't have enough people. We just don't.
Yeah.
And so when we started, that wasn't even talked about. The punk band played with the metal bands, and then there's 2 guys that have a keyboard and a drum machine that just started a band 2 weeks ago, and we don't know what they are, but they're playing too. And all those bands played together, and everybody was fine. But then when you get to the current culture of everybody just can put their stuff out on the internet and everybody can have their own little scene, Joplin's trying to be a little more like isolated, because I think everyone's a little isolated. But I think we still strive to keep the door open and play with as many bands as possible, especially if they're in Joplin, because we can't turn people away. I mean, we got turned away, and it hurt our feelings, and it stinks.
Yeah.
So when we met you, Shovel, and you were given just basically an opportunity to play for all ages instead of just playing at a dumb bar, you know, that meant a lot to us. And
it did.
Well, it meant a lot to me that you guys took the time to, because I was coming at it as a guy from understanding the music scene in Kansas City and thinking, okay, well that can just apply down here, and it couldn't. So I was trying to cram a square peg in a round hole, and you guys definitely helped with that.
Well, there was because growing up we grew up in this really, we've always flirted with writing about music culture, but not really well. Like, we've never really been able to really tackle that without sounding precocious. It's just, I mean, there's so much we want to talk and sing about that. Like, one of the songs we once played with writing was a song called Before There Was Rules. and we had another song we were going to work on called LCD for You and Me, but they never really took off. But there's songs about how like just growing up, when we were growing up back before anyone had any ambitions, like Eric described, like we would play with anyone. Bands would have all kinds of genres, and it was cool. But I think, and I'm speaking a little bit for Eric, he got a belly full of the genre overload when he was in a successful ska band. Like, to this day, he doesn't like listening to ska really because of like Big Bad Chubba. And and then for me, just kind of like where I came from with hardcore, like the kind of the conformity in those worlds. Like maybe it's because we're old. Maybe it's because we started this band when we were 27 and now we're 50. But it's just, ever since I was like probably around 25, I just can't handle gatekeepers like you were talking about, but I also can't handle bands that can't do things on their own. Like a lot of these bands, I just want to play music. That's all I want to do. And I'm like, God, no wonder this town sucks. We're never getting out of here with you being Mr. Specialization. How about you book your own shows and do, and that's been like one of the testaments that we've been trying to do is self-reliance, because if you want to save some money on tour, do it your fucking self. And people, a lot of people don't get that. And so I've always wanted us to kind of be a blueprint where people could be like, here's how, because our first tour, we made money. I don't know how we did. Well, I know how we did that. We planned carefully, and we saved, and we did things. But we came back home with like a real $150 profit after all of our bills, merch costs, everything was paid for. We came back with money in our pocket, and like real business math, not just like, oh, we had $25 in the merch box, now we have $150. No, like after we paid off everything, we still made a profit. That never happened before, but that's because we kind of did things differently and a different attitude towards touring. I had a real attitude about the coasts. We started calling people from the coast coasters because, they drive through town, have big expectations, and then like demand things from us that just mean, we need $500 to play Joplin in 1995. And like,
oh, Jesus.
Oh, dude, we booked at the drive-in in Joplin in like 1996. There was like 15 people there. And they were so nice and humble about it, but the band from Tulsa that opened for him was like, well, we need $200. Our bass player, our lead singer has laryngitis. And I was like,
oh my goodness,
dude, you guys are from fucking Tulsa. Drive home.
Wow.
The guys are mad to drive it, didn't ask for any money, so like I gave him $36. Like that's all we got,
Yeah.
Damn.
And so like for us, like people that couldn't handle that, I just didn't want to work with, and I didn't want to be in a band where I had to play politics with people anymore, because both of Eric and I had to do that for years and we hated it, and we wanted to tell people what we really thought without having to worry about if they liked us or not. That didn't go real well.
Oh, yeah, I want to do one more video reaction.
Sure.
You guys ever heard of Crash Karma?
Nope.
So
You don't get out much, man.
I think I have.
What?
Why am I thinking of the band that came through Joplin a lot? Wasn't there a band through Joplin called Crash Karma a lot? Is it a guy and a girl?
Yes, a married couple. I interviewed
Yeah,
them.
we know them, Dan. You'll know
You
when you
do?
see him.
All right.
We played them in Russellville.
So
That's
he
Matt
plays. That's
Matt
awesome.
Happy.
You guys know him.
Oh, maybe just Matt Happy.
I think that's Mad Happy, Eric.
Here, show the video. We'll see if I'm
Yeah.
talking about the right thing.
Show the video. So they're
I'm reacting
Ameri-
before the video is going.
Yep,
I'm
yep.
pre-reacting.
They're
Okay.
being defiant.
He was right though, because it's two people. It's a married couple that started their own band. He plays electric and bass on the same guitar.
That
Yeah,
was
I'll-
Mad Happy.
No, it's not Matt Happy. I messed that up. So you guys are getting a van conversation now. This is why everyone gets a headache with us.
Here, I'll pull them up. We'll get your reaction after the video. And keep in mind, neither one of them really wanted to sing.
Yeah, join the club.
Steve. Dan. This reminds me of that band that played at Champs. And this girl, I think, started in our area.
Is this the same band that had the song about a hammer?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
See, I have so much to say when it's over. Both of these videos make me feel like me and Dan need to spend more money on our wardrobe.
Yeah.
They're very stylistic.
No, you should not. Your wardrobe fits.
Dan, you would, John, Shovel, you would definitely come to a show if I dressed like that.
Not for good reasons.
We don't care anymore. Just whatever gets people there. I probably wear it what the drummer's wearing.
There's times when he looks at the camera and I'm getting like a Fred Armisen vibe, and I'm waiting for like a little knowing wink, like, haha, you're in on it.
So I don't know if Dan remembers this, and if I have the wrong band, I'll just apologize in advance. But I believe that drummer has ties to Joplin.
I
He
think they're
does.
European.
Yes.
He does?
Yes.
Yes.
So she graduated close to me in Joplin High School.
Mhm.
And so we started doing this band. What year, Dan?
Not 2003.
2003. We weren't into it very long, but as we've stated, we weren't very good. Nobody liked us. And I don't even think it mattered that much if we were a good punk band. They still wouldn't have liked us. But that Crash Karma got booked to play a bar downtown that a band usually doesn't play. And all the people that didn't like us showed up and loved them. And
Oh.
it was interesting. I was like, I don't understand what's going on with this.
Was she in any Joplin bands at all?
Yeah.
I- She was okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Like I know she like moved to like
To Cali.
Cali, and then that band started up soon after. And they've been doing it forever. Like all their videos are really slickly, highly produced. They got a great. I mean, they edit the things miraculously. But like all these people that like, well, called me names. They're like, this band kicks ass. I like this band. This is great. I'm like, I don't understand. And it was like
So
my
now-
first lesson in like kind of marketing, I guess.
Now the video reaction isn't Snickers gets to see Eric react. Now we get to see Snickers react to what Eric just dropped.
Yeah.
Eric knows this girl.
Oh yeah.
Well, I don't think
I was kind of hoping with them being from around that area that I seen that he would know, one of them would know who they were.
Well, it kind of becomes what Joplin is. Joplin is a big fish, small pond, big
Yeah.
time. And a lot of people stay here and get a little bit of success and just stay in that thing and just milk that dry pretty much. And then the other branch of that tree is people move away, but still come back and milk it every now and then. And I mean, everyone from my high school went and saw that band play. They were excited about it, and I'm like, "You guys don't like punk rock? What are you talking about?" They're like, "No, she's good." I'm like, "Okay, but you guys don't like punk rock." Like they played a Fugazi song, Suggestion, and they were like, "We love this band." I'm like, "You don't like this band?
Yep, they did.
You don't." It was a lesson in marketing, and I've learned that when you're in band, there's marketing involved, pretty much. Period.
It is.
And I mean-
it is weird though that there's always seemed to be this weird 6 degrees of separation with Joplin. There
Oh,
always
totally.
seems to
Dude.
be a connection. It's so strange.
It's meth.
Well, yeah, there's that. Yeah,
Do you
I
guys
think
like?
there's a
Degrees of
couple
meth.
other things.
Do you guys
No.
like Fozzy?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
got Rich coming on next month, the guitar player, for an interview.
But yeah, I mean, one of the things that happens with where we live is that we're a flyover, and so people love to stop in and just say, "Yeah, this is where I used to live," and then get the heck back out. But I know it happens. This is what it is, I guess.
That's crazy. That's one of the bands.
Yeah, I'm kind of blown away because that is nuts. That
Like,
she's
I
from
mean,
Joplin.
I wish I could. I don't want to name drop the people that were at the show, but I'll tell you later, Dan. I'll name drop people. You'll be like,
Oh,
"What?
I can
That guy was
imagine.
at the."
Opened up a whole can of worms.
It will.
Well,
Yeah, I don't.
School for us was rough, guys. When we were in high school, it was rough for us, and we walked away with a little bit of an attitude. It was a little bit like, I don't know, a little bit of one part outsiders and one part, suburbia. It was weird. It was a weird experience growing up in this town.
See, I grew up in a small town too, and I listened to underground rap, which wasn't a thing back then in the early 80s and early 90s. So I was an outcast. And in a country school, like everyone listened to country. I grew up on a farm. I'm on my tractor bumping Vanilla Ice and Ice Cube and ICP.
Yeah, we grew. Yeah, I mean, Joplin was a mining town, but now it's just a giant truck stop.
Yeah,
and it's I'm fascinated with this town. Like, it reminds me of Derry from It.
Oh wow.
Except instead of having like a demonic clown spider, we've got a lead. Which is
I never thought I would fall in love with Joplin when I moved down there. The first time because I actually lived there twice. Initially I went down in like 98, 99, did a year of college, and then I left. But didn't really experience Joplin. I kind of kept to myself. And then I came back in like 2002, I think. And just through a lot of circumstances and guys like you, like my heart will always have a part in Joplin. And I never intended that. Found my wife down there, like it's just, it's wild. And I, for the rest of my life, it's an endearing, weird little shitty town. But really I love it so much. So
and like, I mean, yeah, I was, when I first moved back here in 2022,
100% Lisa.
There, I would, because we used to drive around and just go explore this town and read books about it. And we talk a lot about this in our new record coming out, because we're putting a book in the record, kind of like laying things out, because the last full length record we did was in 2013, and just people just didn't get it. And there's this whole thing in art about let people interpret it. They could say it's about art, but I think that's more about business. People used to write things in an ambiguous manner, with an element of ambiguity, to like let people interpret things to like sell product, rather than clarifying what they're trying to say, And I think that's the thing, like with this new record, that I didn't like that in the last record we did. And I really want people to understand where we're coming from. If that song means something different to somebody else, that's fine, but like when we were playing a lot back in 2013, 2015, people would ask us to do these benefits and shit that they had no business asking us to do. Like, I do child welfare, I do social work for a living, and that's I write about that a lot, because there's things that you experience that are just awful, and you got to get it out of your soul. But like, these people would come up and ask us to help them do a benefit to raise money to pay for an attorney because they didn't want to pay child support. And I'm like, who the fuck do you think we are? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, no, like, I mean, and so at one point in our band's history, like, a whole bunch of people were coming out to our shows that were just not good to humanity, man. And so we started doing benefits. There was a long time we did a lot of benefits for like domestic violence shelters, for various charities and stuff. And that was really important, but people weren't getting it. And I don't want to be misunderstood. I don't want to be, associated with certain things, because I mean, there's some things I don't want to be associated with. right? I don't want to be associated with songs about killing women and, you know,
Mhm.
shit like that. I don't want anything to do with that, you know? And so it's just weird. It's just so weird. But Joplin, Joplin's got a charm to it and a horror story to it all at the same time that I think people like you, Shovel, like, I mean, you get it, you know? I mean, it's Joplin it's a small town with big city problems, and it's the weirdest damn thing you've ever experienced.
Yeah.
You know?
There's like an inherent strength and resilience, but in the midst of it, you're also looking for the best way to screw yourself up. Like that's the
Yeah.
culture.
And
Like you want to be great, but then you find every way to either foul it or ruin yourself. It's
So did these
bizarre.
guys play at your venue, Shovel, when you had it on?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
they used to
Oh.
practice in my garage back in the day.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
we helped John lose roommate.
Yeah.
Man.
so Shovel
Go.
ran a place. Shovel ran a place. He did promotion at a place called the Bridge, which was a religious-based venue.
Yeah.
And I don't know how we played there the first time because we're pretty much a secular band. You know, I mean, we've got our opinions about things, about spirituality and whatnot. They're not they didn't necessarily line up with the Bridge's mission statement, right?
Mhm.
And I don't know how we played there, but he was really nice to us and was really transparent with us and was really patient with us. And that's what we wanted to see in our community, you know? And that was a big deal. And he earned a lot of respect with us because he's always been genuine, real, and transparent and tolerant. And I mean, you just can't dislike the dude. You know? I mean, it's so weird.
Yep.
You know?
Well, early on they didn't the venue the venue was me.
Yeah.
To be fair, the overlords didn't want you guys, and I was told not to have you.
Heck yeah.
And
Put
I
that
said
on our
no.
resume.
Oh, wow.
I said that's not going to be okay. They have to play here.
Well, Shovel, why did they want us there?
Because early, like when we had the contract for like code of conduct for the stage, because that was
Oh,
a thing that we
we
did
still
that
tell that
I had to
story.
adopt, and you guys refused to sign it.
Yeah.
And my bosses were like, well, if they don't sign it, they don't play it. And I was like, no, they have reasons why they're not signing it. And we've discussed those reasons. They understand the spirit of what the code of conduct is, and they have told me they'll abide by the spirit. That's good enough for me. I trust them. They trust
Aw.
me. So let's go. So we did.
That story is, I mean, it's stuck in me and Dan's head big time because, you know, we showed up and Shovel's like, hey, there's these papers that you have to sign. And we said, well, Shovel, we have bad news for you because we don't sign nothing. And he's like, well, what do you mean? I have to have you sign. I'm like, well, let's read it. And he goes, you're going to read it? No band has read it. Everyone's just signed it. I'm like, well, we're going to read it. We're like, oh, no. We can't. None of that. We can't do this. And he's like, well, okay, I'll have to go talk. And we're like, yeah, go talk. And I'm like, we love you. We just don't love these pieces of paper you put in front of us.
Were we respectful
And,
to you through that whole thing, Shovel?
I mean, you never disrespected me, honestly,
good for us.
that I
Bring us.
remember. You may have behind my back, maybe.
No.
No.
But you never did to my face. Dan, you were abrasive. You know, it's just who you are.
Well, thanks.
Well, you know it. It's
I
not like I'm-
do know it. I do
Yeah.
know it. I've been
It's
told
not
for-
like I'm spilling any beans
Nope.
here, but yeah, when I first showed up, you weren't as bad as some other people, but you know, you had a little bit of the Joplin chip where, you know, who are you and why do you think you get to run a stage here? And Chubba was a little bit more, you know, softer with it. And like I was telling Snickers, Eric was living with another guy from another band in Joplin at the time. They were roommates, and he invited me over because we were going to watch movies. Because I don't know how it came up, but Eric and I both love movies. And I got over there. We never actually watched a movie. We just played records and talked is all we did. And
Yeah, I remember that.
yeah, and it was a beautiful night. Like, it changed me because that's when my perspective of Joplin shifted. It wasn't just like, there's a bunch of goons down there that just can't get it figured out. I'll have to figure it out for them. And that's what I learned. No, they're not all just goons over here and meth heads. There's people that honestly care about stuff, and I want
and that's
what I want to support.
Yeah, and that's the whole quicksand of Joplin is the people that lived here or still live here. And I don't know if you really can leave. Like, some people can, but there's a lot of people that don't. And there's some people like you, Shovel, where you definitely do not live here, but there's still a piece of you here, like in Joplin. And so no matter how long you've been away, you come through and you still feel like, well, this is home. I just don't live here anymore.
Yeah, it's like a fucking horror crux.
So I want to do another video reaction. This is a local. This guy's local. He's my friend. Shovel. I've never even shown you him yet. He now bodybuilds too. I won't reveal his age until after I play this for you guys, but I want your honest opinion of his music.
Okay.
That intro makes me nervous.
He goes by the Amazing Demon Boy. He's got comic books. He's got all kinds of merch. All right. Let me play this and we'll get your reaction. His age.
I'm trying to guess how many different tropes just got stitched together there.
Man,
he's very much East Coast.
Yep.
Extremely
I'm gonna say
East
50, 52.
Higher.
Oh,
I was gonna say, because he has full face
I was
paint.
gonna say low 40, so I'm way off. So
Yeah, I was gonna say low 60s.
You're close, Shovel.
Heyo.
He's about to turn 62.
Nice.
Really? Yeah.
Yep.
Good for him.
I just did an interview with him at his house here during the summer, and he's a bodybuilding now. 62 years old, bodybuilding.
Has he always played, or is this a newer endeavor for him?
Oh no, he's been doing this 30 years.
The same name the whole time, or
Yep, same name.
what does his belt buckle say?
The Amazing Demon Boy on it.
Okay.
He's
Trying
got
to read that.
he's got comic books, he's got all kinds of stuff, but yeah, he's local. Just 45 minutes from me now.
That's cool. He reminded me of a guy we used to know. I actually, Shovel, you met him, the drummer from Chicklets. Like real stocky, like his build.
Ian.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah. He looked like his build, and some of his
the
mannerisms reminded me of Ian.
There's a little bit of I don't know. I think of Sioux City Pete a little bit too.
Yeah.
It's most bizarre.
It was weird.
He does
Not as
weird videos.
Yeah. Being in your early 60s and having gals with,
He's
Skip and
actually he's toured Europe. He's toured overseas. He just did a show with I can't think of their name now, but they did a song with Electric Callboy actually that he toured with. It's pretty good.
where do you live exactly? Like what town are you in?
Upstate New York. I'm by Canada and Vermont.
Wow.
I can hit spit and hit both.
My family's from Mount Vernon, New York originally.
Okay, I'm from the Adirondack Parks up here.
Oh, all right. That's cool.
So you guys got any upcoming projects?
Yeah, we're actually doing a video show. John
Okay.
Shovel saw a little bit of it. We've been adding samples to our music, and we're going to be doing a video show where we have a movie screen and a video projecting over us, playing all of our songs off our new album. And we have to start rehearsing. We got all the Eric got all the equipment. We got to start just rehearsing it now. And we wanted to get these shows out of the way.
Did you decide if the screen is behind or in front of you?
Behind.
Okay.
We're behind, and we're going to be in front of it. And then Dan's going to be kind of pushed to the side a little bit, so everything doesn't block the screen. But it's going to be like on us. Think like like the early Velvet Underground
Yeah.
shows and stuff.
Yeah. So you are the screen as well.
Partly, yeah.
Baby Metal. That's who we toured with.
Oh, Baby
yeah.
Metal.
Baby
Wow.
Metal. Yes.
That's
That's
pretty
a
big.
that's a good question. On the comments, Dan, they asked if we have played any places that were like Joplin. Have you ever played in a place that you felt like was like Joplin at all?
Yeah. I would say Russellville was like
Russellville,
Joplin in some
Arkansas?
ways. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And we used to like I mean, Eric and I became kind of obsessed with like rural bands. Like there's a lot of like bands that come from like just small towns, and we used to try to book shows in those places because, you know, the thing about small town music is those folks will remember you 20 years, man. Like
Yes.
the small town people, like, remember that band came through, and they will drive hours to go see you,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so there was a town like Mountain View. Is it Mountain View where the Reach Arounds were from?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So there's this band that we love called the Reach Arounds, and they sounded like the Minutemen, and they were incredible. They're an incredible band. And there was something in the water in Mountain View, like all these bands. There was like 3 bands from that town. All of them were good. Some of them had a uniqueness to them, that more of a uniqueness than others. But we went and played a show down there, and it was like hillbilly life. You know, they made like a compressed air gun that would shoot walnuts, and I was playing with that for like 30 minutes. You know, like
I mean, one of the things that we've always done when we book a show is we don't really care if it's a verified venue as much. Is it going to be an adventure? Are we going to have a story when we come back from the show? And that show in particular, when we got out of the van, they made fun of us because we were driving a Honda Odyssey, looked like a soccer mom van. And they said, "How are you driving that to shows? You don't look punk rock at all." And then I looked at their van and it was covered in stickers. I said, "Yeah, how many times you get pulled over?" They go, "All the time." I said,
Yep.
"That's why." But they go, "Here's your hatchet." I'm like, "What?" We're throwing hatchets against the wall. And so there was a big target. They're throwing hatchets for like 20 minutes. And then they showed us the walnut gun. And that's what they did for fun.
the walnut gun was badass.
Yeah.
Like
And,
watching walnuts at 120 miles an hour across the cow field. That was awesome.
Jesus.
Yeah. And that the picture you used for the flyer is actually from that show.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
it was.
the one-
It was.
Like a bonfire, and it was like, you know, they had, like Dan said, there was 3 bands there. Reach Arounds were more punk, and then there was a kind of a more metal band, and then the other band was, what were they, just like kind of like a rock band? I forget, Dan.
The Remarkabillies.
Oh yeah, the Remarkabillies.
Yeah, they were really good.
So
But,
what is the biggest band you guys think you've played with?
I don't know if we've ever played with a big band, really.
We played with a big band, but we didn't. We played with the Necromantics, but everybody flipped them off because they drank all the beer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That was one of the show that we started figuring out that we could actually be in a band that people liked. They actually booked us on a festival that was like, I think it was a 2 or 3 day festival. I forget how many, but the Necromantics were supposed to play the Saturday night to close out the show. And one of their things in their rider was that they had to have their own dressing room shut off, and they need their own keg of beer. And all the punk rockers didn't like that, so they broke in and stole their beer. And
oh wow.
As they would.
Say what?
As they would. I mean,
Yeah, as they would. You know, and we're still friends with most of those punk rockers still. And not that the Necromantics played a bad show. They just were treating it like it was any old tour stop. And this was a stop in Fayetteville that was put on by DIYers. They're just like, we want Necromantics to come here because we're tired of waiting for them to play. So, I mean, it was a good experience. But yeah, I think Necromantics might be the biggest thing we played with. I mean, we played with Guttermouth, but we didn't really want to. They just, it was kind of, we told a promoter in Springfield that we weren't going to play any more of his shows because he kept booking 8-band bills and putting us first. And then bands that got together like a month before were playing after us. And we had people that were showing up later to see us and they were missing us. We did that for like 2 years. So we told him we weren't playing his shows anymore. And then he put it up for a fan vote. And we ended up winning with actually the Reach Arounds band we were talking about from Mountain View. And that was high comedy because a lot of people in Springfield understood Guttermouth's show was a kind of a punk rock comedy show. But the people in Mountain View did not know that.
Oh no.
And the people in Mountain View are protective of their own. So if you have hair down to your ass and the singer of Guttermouth calls you a hippie and you need to kick his ass, people from Mountain View are going to try to jump on stage and jump you. And the guy in Guttermouth was like, I don't understand why everyone's upset. I've been doing this for a long time. And we're like, what? You're kind of you're in a weird spot, man.
Yeah.
And they shoved him in the car and they drove off.
It was bizarre.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was probably the biggest band we played with. Is probably Guttermouth.
Yeah, probably.
So
But yeah,
what-
I would. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
what's your guys' opinion of venues making artists pay to play now?
That's ridiculous.
It's dumb.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's one of the things. Like when we were growing up, we were able to find places to play anywhere. Like we had to find places to play, and we'd rent storage sheds and all kinds of stuff. So the idea that someone would pay to play a venue is insane.
I
Well,
see
it
it.
becomes I mean, we understand that the venue has costs to operate, or the venue is going to shut down, and we get that. But a lot of times, what happens with these pay-to-play deals is that I mean, they're charging each band $125 or something like that, in some roundabout way. Either they're having them sell tickets, which the bands are inherently lazy, not all, but a lot of them are. If you've booked a venue for a while, if you book a venue for 2 years, come back to me and tell me how much you think bands aren't lazy, or if you like bands. But a lot of bands are lazy and just don't sell the tickets, and they're like, well, we just have to give them the money for the tickets and then play the show. So it ends up biting the bands in the ass because nobody comes to the show except for like the 10 or 20 people that heard about it.
Yep.
And then they're like, well, we have 5 bands that sold 10 tickets apiece. Where are these 50 people at?
Right.
They're not there because they don't exist.
What
Yeah.
it reminds me of is, you know how like a lot of people that made money during like the iron ore boom in Joplin and the gold rush out in California. It wasn't the miners that made the money. It was the people selling the equipment to the miners. That's what pay to play reminds me of.
That's good.
And-
Yeah.
And so like we don't like our band's never had a guarantee. We almost had one once, but we like intentionally don't ask for money to make sure that people can make their businesses work that are good to our town or their own towns, right? So like we've never had a guarantee, and we've made our money off our merch sales and just a handshake, right? Like, if someone makes money at one of our shows and they can pay us, that's great. But we also don't suffer crooks either, because we played lots of shows where people have tried to rip us off. If money's not an issue, we'll play ball. If money's an issue, we're gonna have a problem. Because if you want to see me lose my shit, try fucking us over. Like I don't deal with it really well.
You ever
Yeah.
heard of Ronnie Radke, Falling in Reverse?
Mm.
Really? Oh, I gotta do one more video reaction. So he made it a point to he walked out of a show because they were overcharging artists to open up for him.
Oh,
And
man.
he got pissed. He walked out of the show. They were charging like $250 for a 5-minute song to play. I can't believe you never heard of Falling in Reverse. Oh wow. All
We're
right.
not allowed touch.
Yeah, it's I know who Falling in Reverse is. So knowing that, you guys should not feel bad because
We don't
It's
feel
not-
bad.
I know from the
Yeah.
I know
When it
from the
comes to
name
pop
that
culture, When it comes to
there's a
pop
guy at
culture,
work
we're
that
proud to
loves
be
him.
ignorant.
I could just tell by the name that I don't know how I know, but just when I hear the name, I'm like, oh, I know that he's gonna like this band.
Well, and it's so Dan, when you talk about hardcore, you're talking about like Minor Threat hardcore.
Hmm.
And Ronnie Radke is hardcore, but it's like mid 2000s hardcore.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it's
Yeah.
there's a world of difference. So yeah,
So we're talking like post hate breed hardcore.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
wait, yeah.
Then you haven't heard this one by them, Shovel. I'll do this one for a video reaction then. Let's do this one real quick. Oh, how many songs have you heard by them, Shovel? Fall in Reverse.
a few.
A few? All right,
Yeah.
let's do this will be the last video reaction. We'll do this one real quick.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Oh yeah, I know this song.
Every one of that guy's music videos is like a friggin' movie now. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
That
That's
song is
insane.
just like a culmination of so many things.
Mhm.
Speaking of artists that have been doing it for a long time, Tech Nine
Yeah.
Yes.
has never lost a step, has always been just remarkable. And he's DIY. Like
Mhm.
he's real, recognize real. He's very much the itch of a different color.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I have a lot of people that like share his stuff all the time, or I see some pop up, and it's always something related to Kansas City or Kansas City related or something. It's great to see because so many just never mind. I live in New York now. I'm a New Yorker.
Well, and to relate that to Joplin, Kansas City is kind of a just bigger Joplin, way
Yeah.
bigger Joplin. But it has kind of the same mentality of, well, if I want to get big, I got to get out of here. There's nothing here. And that's a Joplin way of thinking too. But instead of committing your mind to that, if you commit your mind to, okay, well, it's not great here, what can I do to make it better?
Right. Right.
Mhm.
That's where good change happens.
Mhm.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah, you can't all go to LA and Nashville and New York.
What's
You
here?
gotta-
in New-
somebody's
what's
got to
here-
stay home.
What's here in New York? Like, I don't know why you'd want to move here, but
Well, that's
Dickhead.
it becomes a fantasy because when you live, I'm speaking for like the fantasy of a Midwesterner, you always think like, you know, if I just get out there and if I can make it in New York, then I'll be like successful. But the
Yeah.
problem is that New York doesn't need you.
if you want to pay
Because there's 1,000 of
$3,000,
you.
yeah, yeah.
Well, and I mean, that's part of my story. I went to Chicago to pursue comedy. And what are every restaurant in Chicago full of? Actors and comedians.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. And, you know, that's how it is in New York. That's how it is in LA. It's
Mhm.
everybody that's waiting a table is waiting for their break. And there's only so many breaks until, you know, maybe you get broken. And
Well, and it was,
that's
you
why
know,
I
it was
left Chicago.
educational for me was, you know, our friend Clint that you mentioned earlier, Shovel, he plays guitar in a psychobilly band called Brutally Frank. And I went with them on a tour, and I wanted to see how other people did tours because me and Dan have always did tour our way, and it's not the way that most people would do it. Which because we make money, everyone else goes broke. But so I went with them to see what they were like because their whole goal was, you know, we want to go out to California, and that was fine because, you know, they were a psychobilly band and they had psychobilly contacts out there. And once I got out there, I got to talk to people in California, and they just had a disillusionment about, well, especially Joplin. Because if you go out to LA and you say you live in Podunk City in Joplin and it has 40,000 people live in it, they're like, "Do you have electricity?
Right.
Do you have to walk to the outhouse?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And they're like, "Well, when are you moving to California?" I'm like, "Why would I move to California?" And they're like, "Because, like, isn't that why you're here, to figure out a place to live?" I'm like, "No." And I go, "I'll tell you why I'm not moving to California. We drove here an hour and a half after the show to get outside of LA to get to your house. That is a 2-bedroom place. You're sharing with 6 people.
Yeah.
How much rent do you pay?"
Yep.
$1,200. I go, "That's just you, right?" "Yeah." I go, I have a 2-bedroom house in Joplin. I pay $300 a month." They're like, "What?" They're like, "That's why I live in Joplin." And
See,
so it
I-
allows you to like expand when you can when you to go out that far. But it's nothing that it was a nice vacation, but no, not going to go move out there.
That's
Yeah.
like when I lived in Salt Lake City, Utah. I was paying $2,200 a month for a 3-bedroom. I come back here to New York, you get a whole house for $600 where I live.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. The difference in prices in states. Yep. All right, we're gonna take a couple more questions. You got a couple more before we hop off, Shovel?
So when does the new album come out,
Yes.
and how do I get it?
Yes. Is there gonna be hard copies?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
We got to send it off to the pressing plant. It's going to be pressed on vinyl, and
Nice.
then it'll be like a digital services as well. We should have it by spring. I'm hoping late spring, early summer. Does that sound right, Dan, to you?
Yep.
I think so. So we're getting the book constructed. We're kind of doing it a little DIY way where it won't look like your typical record because we're tired of it used to be when we put out a record, like we were the only band that had a vinyl record. They're like, how the hell did you guys get a vinyl record? We're like, we pressed it. They're like, you guys aren't even very good. How'd you do that? We're like, this was the only band goal we had was to put out a vinyl record. And now it's great to see that most bands are putting out physical media and records and CDs and even cassette tapes and stuff like that. But we want to keep that legacy going of putting out an actual physical vinyl record or something that people can actually hold on to and use it as a resource of what we're trying to say in this record. So I say, like, late spring, early summer, it'll come out. It should be available online through, I think we're going to put it on like .cop Records like page where you can buy it through just them if you don't live in Joplin. Or, we've done pretty well with just if you want something, just message me and I'll deliver it if you live close. But can't drive to New York, unfortunately. But I'll figure that out. I'll figure out a way to send it or do something. And it's all about like making a connection with people in one way or another. And that's what's really ironic about all these bands on social media and stuff, posting all these stuff all the time to engage people, but they don't really talk to people a lot. They just like it, move on, and bump the algorithm. Yes.
Eric can one up you right now.
I could. Hold on, Dan. You talk.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
Oh,
No, I want to.
I want to see. I got the bobblehead hanging up on the wall too.
Oh, Eric has some big dogs.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. I don't know if you saw the two Elvises.
No,
but
I didn't.
Eric
get
is the
to
one
see
that has the two Elvises.
Stickers
Oh,
hasn't seen these. Okay, this is the second one.
Yeah, he just got that one.
Oh wow, that's awesome! I did not see that one.
I
Hell
found
yeah.
these at a flea market. They're whiskey decanters.
Yeah.
Wow.
That one used to have whiskey in it when he first bought it.
Yes, and it smelled awful, and it was not good. But then he gave me. I'll get the other one too.
Yeah, the other one is Violent J paint, obviously, but on the collars, I did like rhinestones, and I did like
Oh wow.
the logo for Elvis is taking
Here.
care of business in a flash.
So there's the other.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
I changed it
And
from
then-
PCB to ICP, and then I did a Hatchet Man and rhinestones.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So there you go, ICP and a flash.
Hell yeah. Now, have you ever listened to ICP's music?
I have.
Oh yeah.
It's been. I'll have to say, through John's experience, it's really opened up my mind a lot because just my experience with ICP in the early 90s was basically all the fans were a pain in the ass. And I was really closed-minded to it. And I'm like, can you just stop misshelving the Eminem CDs and putting the ICP CDs where the Eminem is?
Yeah.
Can you just not? Can you just work with me? And they're like, they just, and I don't know what they were like. And say what?
Because you worked at a record store.
Yeah, I worked at a
Yeah.
giant retail record store, and that was really my only experience with them. And then when I started years later, when I started reading about them and how they're really DIY and they put out all their own stuff and they're all like in house, and I'm like, oh, well, that's a different aspect that I've never really considered.
Yeah.
And now it's even progressed more to where like this whole Juggalo culture is so inclusive and weirdly like inviting. It's just like, well, this has changed. this has changed from the annoying 12-year-olds that just wore big pants and yelled at me.
I mean, they
'Cause
still exist, and now they're in their
they do,
30s, but you know,
every culture has their assholes,
yeah. But
and that's just what it is.
It is. It's crazy. I keep telling people that because the Juggalo culture is very unique and very distinct, but ultimately at the core, it's very DIY, very punk. I don't think Juggalos realize how punk they are, but it's very punk. Just the loyalty and the drive, and the fact that the two clowns behind it all are so willing to let people make money off of their ideas and their designs and their concepts, and I'm able to sell crap that's straight from them. You know what I mean? Like,
And
I am
Shaggy loves
copying
it.
them every day.
Yes. Yep.
And they're all about it. It's wild.
Here, I'll play this for you real quick. See if I got something for you. Here you go.
DJ Snickers. Is that DJ Snickers as in you're snickering, or as in the candy bar, or you're like sweet as fuck? Okay, DJ Snickers, be quiet for 1 second. Underground Wicked Radio in the motherfucking house. Shaggy Too Dope in this bitch. Big shouts to you and everybody listening, fam.
All right, Underground Wicked Radio.
What's it all about, Jay?
Shit, it's going real good, man. I'm gonna give you a drop. So you can use it. All you gotta do is sample it. Check it out. This is Violent J, and you're checking out Underground Wicked Radio. 2 Woods, bitch.
Bro, when he did that for me, I lost my shit.
Yeah. Chubba, or Eric, I don't know if I told you, but Violent J DM'd me through Instagram to tell me how he appreciates my work.
Nice.
That's great.
Isn't that bizarre? That's so weird.
And then
Like-
I got a shovel a shout out from Shaggy.
Yeah. It's not like, I'm a huge Misfits fan. If I was painting the ghoul on things, I don't think Glenn Danzig would be sliding into my DMs. You know what I
Glenn
mean?
Danzig's not fucking emailing you. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
He would send a raven.
there's a handful of people in the music community that will take time to email you back, or even an email, or think. And I found out, like, if you write Ian McKay from Fugazi, like, he almost always will write you back. Like, it's just on a postcard, but he'll write it back and he'll send it to you. And that's just like, I don't know many people that will take the time to do that.
Yeah.
What Shaggy does for you and all that stuff. I mean, it's so little time out of their day, but it means, how gassed up were you when you got that, like, DM for, like, you're still gassed up, right? You're like,
It came through at like 11 p.m. I was just like laying down in bed, starting to get myself ready to, like, fall asleep. And then I get that message and I'm like, holy crap, what? So, oh my God, I got a message back. Wait, don't type anything stupid. What do I say? And then, it was nothing huge. It's not like, we made any plans to make out or anything, but I couldn't sleep after that. It was stupid. And
and then you have that weird thing, like, do I reply again or do I just leave
know,
it?
Yeah. Wait, he hasn't read it yet. Is everything okay? Like, did I say something wrong? I don't know. Yeah.
And then I got Shovel a shout out, or I had Shaggy check out Shovel's artwork during Thanksgiving, and I sent that to Shovel. And he's around. Were you around family when you got to see
Yeah,
that
I was in
shout out?
Carthage. I was at my in-laws' house in the middle of nowhere. Hardly any internet out there. You know what I mean? I mean, you guys know how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get this message from Snickers, and he's like, "Dude, Snickers just shouted you out." And I'm like, "What? Huh? What?" I'm trying to like get to his live, and I'm buffering, and I can't get anything. And I'm like, what do I do? I'm in the middle of nowhere. What do I do?
I caught
I think
it for you and sent it to you.
Was that the video where like they were showing him like during his like streaming?
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
during
And they're
one of
like,
his shows.
yeah, I saw that. It was great.
Yeah, he liked my Christmas ornaments, the show me your butthole Christmas ornament.
Yep.
Well,
Well,
how,
shovel,
how- how can you
Shovel
not?
said yeah. He's like, well, I'll never get a video or a shout out like that. When I interviewed him, I'm like, oh yeah. So I went out of my way and got one.
Oh, John, you should send him a photo of the Elvis he did.
To Shaggy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm actually working on a secret project for Shaggy.
Oh,
Yep.
well then,
Yeah.
send that instead.
Yeah.
Oh.
It'll probably do pretty well.
Hell yeah. Yeah, this whole scene, the music scene, all connects somehow. It's crazy. And then ICP wrestled for years
Yeah.
back in the 90s. You know,
Were you guys ever into wrestling, Eric and Dan?
Yeah, I was a lot. I don't know if Dan was.
No, I was
No.
into the documentaries that we watched. We watched the documentaries, Tales from the Ring, I think what it was.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dark Side of the Ring.
Dark Side
Yeah.
of the Ring. That
The
was
Ring.
crazy.
Yeah, we explained to Dan like you need to watch these documentaries, and he's like, I don't watch wrestling. I'm like, you don't need to. You're fine. Just sit here and watch. And Dan, 20 minutes into it, he's like, holy shit, this is messed up. I'm like, anytime you want to know what your favorite wrestler did, if you watched wrestlers in the 90s, probably don't look them up.
Right.
Yeah.
Probably bad. But
Also, another band that went through your guys' area I interviewed was called Steel Panther. You ever heard of them?
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
Steel Panthers.
Yes. They are awesome. I had them do a radio drop, and I asked them, if you guys could
This is my
have.
dog. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Winston.
My cat usually gets up here. I asked them, if you could have one food in your buffet, what would it be? And then they were like, pussy. It's like a never lasting God stopper. And then I was like, well, where'd you get that pussy from? They're like, your mother. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah,
So,
that's pretty on brand.
Yeah.
I play a lot of video games, and I was playing this video game called DayZ, which is kind of where we got the idea about anti-bans, because it's an anti-game, and it's not a game that you play for fun. It's fucking heartbreaking. And we were playing on this one server that was modified, and basically it's a zombie survival game, right?
Mhm.
And so there's this one place on this one particular server where they actually had like stores where you could buy and trade stuff. And they had Steel Panthers playing on the radio on this video game at this place in this
Oh,
video
wow.
game. And it was, I'd go there to buy some food and ammunition, be like, Asian hookers. I was like,
Yep,
what the-"
yep.
like over and over and over. And they had like 5 songs that they just play in rotation that was Steel Panthers. And it was insane.
They just went on America's Got Talent last year.
yeah,
Wow.
like
It was-
it's the oddest thing around here. I saw they were coming around through Tulsa, and they were playing an all ages show and then like a late show. I wonder what the difference of that is.
Hey, Dan, speaking of anti-games, have you played the Stanley Parable?
No,
You might look that one up. It's
I played-
weird.
I played Elden Rings recently.
Nice.
That's not an anti-game.
No.
That's art. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
That game
Yeah.
is so beautiful. But I played it recently, and like a lot of games, they get like type A about shit. They want to like beat the game. Who can beat the game the fastest? And I
Mhm.
played that game, and I just went after this one katana, and I got my katana, and I just put the game aside. My friend's like, "Have you beaten it yet?" So I'm not beating it. It's like, "What? I got my katana. I got the blood katana. I don't need anything else." It's like, "Why don't you beat it?" It's like, "I don't want to. I don't want to beat it. I got the katana. I'm done." And they just did
Don't-
not understand that.
You should try the Stanley Parable.
I'll look it up right now.
It's dude.
I've
it's
heard of
weird.
it. Yeah.
It's real
is,
weird, and
is.
it'll. I mean, I haven't finished it yet. Apparently, it's like, I don't know, infinite endings or whatever. But,
Mhm.
it's so weird. It just keeps starting over again.
Anyone play Pokemon Go?
I never played it, but when that started, it was like it was a jolt to this like society in general, because all of a sudden people went outside again and started hanging out.
Yeah, and they
Yep.
collected
And they
in
still do.
areas. Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't
I-
even know it was still a thing. And
I play it every day. I'm level 47.
I would say wow, but I don't know what that means.
Pretty high.
Yeah.
See, I have a pretty addictive personality when it comes to like video games, so I just don't play them.
That's
Like-
my problem. Yeah.
And so, like, I play the opposite video games of Dan when I did play them. I would play like sports games because I knew this game's going to take 2 hours because it's
What?
4 quarters and it'll be done.
What are you
And I
talking
can just
about?
be done.
The opposite of, dude, I like lived at your house for like a week straight playing fucking FIFA World Cup 2005. What do you mean? The
You did,
opposite?
but let's be honest. You stayed there because you made every character people from Joplin,
I
and
did.
you were
I made
and
a
you made
soccer team
people
of our friends.
and you made people ethnicities. And then, how many sports games have you played since then, Dan?
I played
None.
FIFA 2005.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, never. I take back my comment. Then Dan loves sports games.
I
Yes.
do.
He's totally not just playing zombie games over there when I'm trying to pull away from band practice.
Yeah, so I'm playing Project Zomboid, which is another game that's just brutal and awful, and I love it. It's so hard.
I just started watching Fear of the Walking Dead. I'm hooked.
Oh man, I read the comic books for Walking Dead. Like I got turned on to those in 2005. My friend's wedding, he introduced me to him, and I just couldn't get into the show. But there was another one, not Fear the Walking Dead. They put out another spinoff that was only 2 seasons.
Oh wow.
I don't know what it was called right now off the top of my head.
City of the Walking Dead.
Mm-mm. No,
The one with Daryl? That's just Daryl in France?
No, it was a complete no characters from the Walking Dead series. It was just set in that universe. And I caught it on like Facebook because it's like, this is considered one of the best zombie shows ever. And I watched it. And it was really good. Hold on, guys. Let me find it.
I mean, Fear the Walking Dead was like a different cast.
Yes.
Was it Fear that's on the West Coast?
I think so. Now, have you guys anyone of you ever seen Blacklisted?
I
I don't know
haven't.
what that is.
I never watched it. I like what's his face. It's in
Black
that
Summer.
show.
It's Black Summer.
Yeah. Okay.
Summer.
Black Summer. It's really good. Like
Yeah,
I
I
love that.
watched that. Yeah, that's not tied to Walking Dead, is it?
Yeah, it is. It's the same universe.
Huh?
Hmm.
Or is it just zombies?
I thought it was connected to the same universe. Hey, but you know what? I might be wrong. If someone wants to correct me, that's cool. I think it's the same universe.
I did watch that, and it is good. You know what I like about all the zombie stuff, which I just love it in general, but I like that we keep circling back in all these different programs too. It's not the zombies that are the problem; it's the survivors.
Yes. Yep.
And you know that's true to life.
Well, I just watched Blacklisted.
It's hard to win as the good guy.
I just watched Blacklisted, finished it, and never realized that was Daniel Jackson from frickin' Stargate SG-1. I never in a million years would have thought that was him. He's frickin' bald and old now. It threw me off.
But who was the main guy in Blacklisted?
That's Daniel Jackson from Stargate. The
I
bald
thought
guy.
I thought there was another guy that was
He's the one going around and giving them all these big criminals. That's Daniel Jackson. You ever seen Stargate SG-1?
Yeah, some of it. I didn't really like it.
No,
like
I
the
watched all
movie.
of them. I watched all of them. Stargate Atlantis, Stargate Universe.
Okay, I'm thinking of the wrong show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, Dan left.
Yeah, he left.
Dan's out. That's about right. Yeah.
He's like, I'm done. Yeah, we probably should hop off.
Yeah.
Well,
2 hours in, man.
Oh,
yeah, I
wow,
want to
really?
thank you, Snickers, for setting this up and asking us.
Yes, definitely.
We wanted to be interviewed for a long time, and especially in this long format is really nice. So thank you.
You're welcome. I was glad. Nice to know a little more about Shovel now too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I know
no,
enough about
he's
Shovel. I wanted to meet you.
back. He's back.
Oh, Aaron.
Ronnie,
Yeah.
yeah, James Spader. That's who I was thinking of. Am I thinking of a different show?
You're thinking of Blacklist.
Okay.
Blacklisted. Yeah, James Spader. That's Daniel Jackson from SG1. The nerd.
Hey guys.
There
Oh.
he is.
Yeah, my phone died, so I went desktop.
Oh, there
Okay.
you go.
Right now, you're just an icon.
Yeah, we're wrapping up, Dan.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
I didn't realize we were that late. I usually run them for about an hour. But yes, when you guys get a hard copy, I definitely you're doing records.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, do you have T-shirts or any other merch?
Yeah, we got a T-shirt. I'll send you one.
Oh, I'd rather buy one. I support artists.
Okay. Well, I'll message you when we get on here.
Yes, message me. Ask Shovel. I like to support. I got one of his shirts too.
Okay. Well, maybe we can buy something from each other. We can trade off.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
All right. You guys have a good night. It was awesome having you on. I'd definitely like to have you back on when you guys drop the CD and help you promote that.
Yeah. I'll keep you in the loop.
Definitely. All right. You guys have a good night. The
See
Bye,
y'all.
Shovel. Love you.
Love
Bye,
you
guys.
Bye,
Later.
Dan. Love you. See you later.
All right, love you. See ya.
Everyone have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.